I created this soft glowing image without using a traditional ink pad. It's a technique called ghosting and it adds instant depth and interest to your cards. And today I'm putting my new Ohuhu alcohol markers to work and I'm going to share 3 creative ways to push these markers beyond basic coloring. Hi friends, I am really excited. I have something different to share with you guys today. I am going to be trying out some new alcohol markers and these are from Ohuhu. I have not opened them yet. I have not tried them yet because I wanted to do this live or on camera with you guys so you can get my real thoughts and opinions on them. But I'm really looking forward to trying them, and I've got some techniques running in my head too that I want to try with these markers as well. So come along with me as we give these new alcohol markers a try. These are the Ohuhu Honolulu B series alcohol markers. There are 120 markers in this amazing set. There is a huge color range in this set, which is going to give a ton of creative freedom when it comes to coloring or creating fun backgrounds like I'm going to be sharing with you today. But first, I wanted to try these out and see what I thought. And if you know me, you know I will always be completely honest with you guys. And I'm here to tell you, I am so impressed, beyond impressed. First of all, these markers are so comfortable to hold, and they also have little nibs on them which stop the markers from rolling down the desk, and they are just sensational. I love the tip on these. The brush tip is on one end and then there's a chisel tip on the other end. The brush tip is super flexible, super expressive. I'm very impressed, and I honestly didn't think at first I would use the chisel end. How wrong I was, as you'll see as I get going along in this video. So after I filled out the color swatches that come with the set, you can see here I just took a floral stamp and stamped it across a strip of basic white cardstock, and then I just started making my swatch of all the different colors because I'm going to make myself a little accordion booklet that I can use for easy quick reference when I want to decide which colors to use when I'm using these markers. The ink in these markers, you guys, is so rich and juicy, and they blend so smoothly on regular cardstock as well as vellum and some different things that I'm going to show you in today's video. I also want to let you know I decided not to just do a coloring tutorial on this video because there are some incredible tutorials already online showing you how to use alcohol markers, how to blend alcohol markers, and specifically for Ohuhu markers. So instead, I wanted this video to be more about techniques, specifically using alcohol markers. So once I've got my swatching done, I will show you at the end of this video the little accordion booklet I made. It turned out so great. But what I'm doing is I'm making little inserts to put in between the rows of the markers in the case. That way I can also see at a glance what the color of ink looks like corresponding to the marker itself. Again, because the caps on the markers doesn't necessarily line up really well with the actual ink color. So that's a little bit of a con, but not a huge deal for me. And I do wish there was some more browns, but otherwise this is an amazing, fantastic set. Okay, let's move on to the first technique. Because I want a ghosting effect on my projects, I either needed a specialty paper like a glossy cardstock or different specialty type cardstocks, and I wanted to use what I have. So here's what I came up with. I changed the surface of the paper. All I did, as you could see, was I just put a light wash of white gesso onto the cardstock and let it dry. That one step seals the surface just enough so that the alcohol ink stays movable instead of soaking straight in. I am also applying gesso to some basic gray cardstock from Stampin' Up. And then I'm simply going to set this aside to dry. And again, I'm sealing the surface of my cardstock because I don't have any glossy cardstock or specialty type cardstock right now in my stash. So I'm using what I have, and the gesso worked great. Now I have chosen some markers in rainbow colors with the yellows, orange, red, and blues and purples and greens. And I am literally just scribbling those colors across the paper. This is the paper that has the gesso layer dried on the cardstock. And look at these colors. Oh my gosh, they are so vibrant and they blend absolutely beautifully together. The alcohol ink is staying movable long enough for me to create the ghosted image and the color transfer. So here's the next secret with the ghosting technique. You are going to need rubbing alcohol, 99% rubbing alcohol that you can purchase at the dollar store. That's where I got mine. And you're going to lightly mist your stamp. I'm using a red rubber stamp, but you can use photopolymer stamps, and press down, lift off, and look at that. Oh my gosh, it's magic. Not only that, but look at, I can stamp off, and I'm transferring that alcohol ink from my stamp to another piece of paper for like a second generation stamping. How cool is that? Especially considering we can't put alcohol inks on our stamps, of course, right? They will just stain them. But now you can. This is a really great way to get so much mileage out of your alcohol ink markers. I also want to mention that ghosting isn't new. You can create ghosted effects with distress inks and water, and there are alcohol lift ink pads available as well. Now, I don't own one of those, so today I'm showing you what you can do using alcohol markers, rubbing alcohol, and just some simple surface prep. Now, I also want to let you know I tried using 70% rubbing alcohol. It did not work, but the 99% alcohol worked like a charm. And some of these pieces I'm going to save for my journals. I'll save that for another video, but I am going to make some cards using some of the pieces I'm creating with you today. Here I'm just putting a little bit of the rubbing alcohol in my little plastic mat. That's just ink that's stained on the mat. And I'm just using a stylus actually to drop some ink. I'm just literally dabbing it onto the surface so that it can spread. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Mind you, I'm doing it diagonally onto my basic gray cardstock on top of that gesso layer. As a side note, the stamps that I'm using on today's projects are retired from Stampin' Up. Some of them I picked up at the dollar store and some of them I purchased through Amazon. And I will leave the links down below for the 2 sets that I'm going to be using today that came from Amazon because they're pretty awesome as well. Now looky here, I'm just having fun. And I decided to go in different patterns and just experiment, and I'm literally just playing, stamping on the fly, as most of you know I love to do, and just sharing the process with you. Sometimes things work out great, sometimes maybe not so much, but I do like to keep it real, and I am so thrilled with how all of these pieces turned out. And look at that butterfly. Oh my gosh. Now, the other thing I'll mention, I'm so excited. I have so much to share with you guys, but that rubbing alcohol is obviously wet on top of that surface of the alcohol ink. So every now and then I do sap it a little bit with my heat tool. And if my stamp still has a lot of the ink on the stamp, I am spritzing it with water in between, wiping it, and then lightly misting again with that 99% rubbing alcohol. You want to make sure that you don't over spritz your stamp with your rubbing alcohol either. Otherwise, it's just going to blur out a whole lot. And unless that's the look you're going for, you're going to want to use less rubbing alcohol than too much rubbing alcohol on your stamp. This is a real trial and error. It's all about playing and experimenting and finding out what works for you and what you love. And oh my gosh, if you love mixed media, my lord, my head was just spinning, but I wanted to get this video up because I just kept coming up with more and more ideas. As I do, I get so excited, and I just think that this ghosting technique with these amazing markers and our stamps, oh my gosh, I'm going to show you at the end of this video, you guys, some cards that I made off screen, as well as some cards that I made using this very same technique and our embossing folders. Oh, I had so much fun. Okay, now I'm moving on to some stencils, and I'm doing exactly the same thing except using the stencil instead of the rubber stamp. Now this is the first time I'm trying this, so I thought, well, I'll dab on some rubbing alcohol with paper towel. And I lifted up a little corner and I'm like, can't really see it so much. So then I took a brush, one of my aqua painters, an older one, and then I just started pouncing. Now that was a good tool painting brush. I changed my mind on that one. That's when I pulled in old scruffy aqua painter that I had, and that did the work. That was perfect. And now look at this. Holy moly, imagine rubbing alcohol with our alcohol markers. Now I know there's so many ways we can use alcohol ink pads, but if you don't have a lot of alcohol ink pads, which I don't, then this is the way to go. Now look at that. I didn't want to waste ink on the stencil, so I just pressed it on another piece of cardstock. Look, all from that one piece of paper with that rubbing alcohol. Oh my goodness. Now, these are the stamps I mentioned earlier that I purchased from Amazon. I had seen somebody use them on a card and I fell instantly in love and instantly went online and bought them. And definitely not the same quality of photopolymer I'm used to, but it does the trick. And I will link the store from the Amazon place where I did get these stamps. But I love all things script. As you can tell, I'm pulling out a Stampin' Up set that's retired with script and put that on. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, I had some wine on the go and I know I'm speeding this up, but I was spending quite some time playing with these markers and techniques and just delighted with how they came out. And then I just had a ball putting the cards together. So I'm just gonna hush for a little bit and let you watch the process of me putting the cards together. And at the end, like I said, I'll show you some other cards I made and some other pieces as well. I hope you enjoyed watching me make some cards today. Here are my finished pieces. And I just love these different techniques, the ghosting. This was using some washi tape. I've got a discount link in my description for this tape from the washi tape shop. This one I did some clear and some gold embossing on top of that ghosting technique. This card is not the ghosting technique. This was me just playing with the markers on some watercolor paper. This one was playing with my embossing folders and the markers and vellum. So if you're interested in this technique, let me know. And the sentiment was after I stamped on the rubbing alcohol, that was my second generation stamping for the sentiment. This one, I love how this one turned out, and the ghosting in the background, oh my gosh, it's so subtle, but it just adds such a gorgeous element to the card. This was fun. This was using an embossing folder and the gesso and the with the alcohol markers and the rubbing alcohol. Such fun. And then these pieces I'm saving for my journal. This year is all about making journals for me. I really want to take time and play in my journals. And if you're interested, I will do more videos on journals, junk journals, glue books, regular journals, albums, you name it. This is the second generation stamping from that rubbing alcohol ghosting technique. And I'm so thrilled with how these turned out. So much fun, so versatile, and look at those colors, my goodness. I love how well these Ohuhu markers perform even on non-traditional surfaces like this gessoed cardstock. And these pieces, I'm going to be saving them. Nothing is going to waste. They are going to be used on future projects. At the beginning of this video, I also mentioned that I made an accordion book for my marker swatch of all 120 markers. And I made a belly band and I created the tag with Canva and I used some stamps to decorate. And look at this, they can all fold out so I can see at a glance all the colors, how they work together, and that's just gonna make it so easy for me when I'm wanting to use these markers. So I think you can tell that I am super happy with these Ohuhu alcohol markers. They've really opened up all kinds of new creative possibilities for me, and the value can't be beat for the quality of these markers. If you're shopping for alcohol markers, I highly recommend these Ohuhu markers, and you can save 10% for a limited time using my discount code Serene10. I'll have everything linked below. Thanks so much for watching, my friends. Take care and happy stamping.